The Chicago Bulls get beat by the Detroit Pistons for the second night in a row. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, we are looking at this most recent loss to the Detroit Pistons as the Chicago Bulls fall to the Pistons once more, this time 128-110. And we'll give the Bulls some credit here. Initially, I did like the energy. I liked the effort. I think it was a lot better than last night. But still, this was not a good loss for the Chicago Bulls. And so we're going to break it all down. And so before we go ahead and jump into that, wanted to go out there and remind you guys that, look, about 65% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it means a lot as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the box score and look at the key takeaways from tonight's game. And so I always like to start with the MVPs, and I want to start with Tre Jones. I think that he was an MVP for us tonight. He had 15 points. He had 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 rebounds. He was plus 4 in the plus-minus box score. He was 5 of 7 from the field. And more importantly, he was 5 of 5 from the free throw line. And so what I liked most about Tre Jones in tonight's game is you got a chance to really see exactly why, I think the San Antonio Spurs liked him initially just being a true point guard, and why the Chicago Bulls probably have some interest in maybe seeing him some more, and maybe perhaps, getting another contract out to him, because you get a chance to see that, hey, this is a guy that certainly can, be a very good point guard, that is a true point guard. And you see that he didn't force the action tonight, didn't shoot up a whole bunch of 3-pointers. He also scored off of like cuts and things like that. So it was a very efficient night. I think the real issue here is that we have a lot of guards on this roster. It's going to get interesting when Lonzo Ball comes back. And oh, by the way, you extended Lonzo Ball. And so where exactly does Tre Jones fit into this? He's an expiring contract. And like I said before, a couple videos back, I had been hearing that maybe the Chicago Bulls might want to bring him back. But we'll see what happens. But I do like the fact that he came out in today's game. And I think that he really did a good job as far as competing and really going out there and trying to make his way either with us or, maybe to his next destination, either or. But I did like his efforts tonight. Next up, wanted to look at Ayo Dosunmu. Look, I think that Ayo was terrific for us tonight. And what I love most about Ayo is I think that he really I think he set the tone for us tonight. I really do. I think that, he came out with the energy that he wasn't going to let this team get bullied. And I think that that's why you didn't see like a 40-point loss in tonight's game. And I like what he did across the stat sheet. Look, 23 points, 6 assists. He had 2 steals. He also had 3 rebounds in this one, 9 of 16. He was 0 of 5 from deep, but still, I liked what I saw from Ayo. And, I think that he's been steady for us, really all along. And it was good to see that energy and that leadership that we got from him tonight. So it was definitely something that I think the Bulls needed. And so next up, another player that I want to talk about here. And he wasn't an MVP, but it was good to see that he's back and just engaged with us, and that was Vooch. Look, 22 points. He had 13 rebounds. He had 5 assists. He was negative 24 in the box score, 7 of 12 from the field. And it was just good to see Vooch back in an engaged effort tonight. I think it's just been disappointing to see that he just has not been involved here. And I know it's a tough situation. I think it's clear that the Bulls and Vooch are probably going to be heading into a different direction. But still, you'd like to see that, he finished well in today's game. And so next up, Modest Buzelis. And so, look, it is no big secret. We want to see some more Modest Buzelis, especially down the stretch now that we've moved on from Zach LaVine. And, I think it was disappointing in the sense that he played the least amount of minutes for the starters tonight. I wanted to see some more. He only played in 26 minutes. He had 11 points in this one. He did have a rebound and an assist. He was negative 20 from the field. Couldn't get the 3-point shot to fall tonight, but he was 5 of 12 from the field. He did give up a poster dunk to Cade Cunningham, and it was very, very nice, actually. If you haven't saw that play where he was going with the right, switches to his left and dunks, it was an and one on Modest. But still, you want Modest Buzelis to really play through his mistakes. Wanted to see him play some more, so I think that was disappointing. Next up with Coby White, he was definitely disappointing again tonight. 2 of 14. I think he was 2 of 13 last night. 7 points. And I just think the decision making for Coby White was just awful today. I think that there was one play where we got a steal. Instead of throwing it ahead to Julian Phillips, he elects to pull the basketball back out, and I think Julian Phillips then just goes over to the corner, and it just leads to just really a down possession there. And so, just the decision-making from Coby White, and just I have no idea where his offense has gone here over the last couple games. And so next up, Josh Giddey. And so, look, Josh Giddey, actually, I think it was a bright spot for us today. He did have double figures as far as the 16 points are concerned, and he was 3 of 4 from 3, so that was good to see. 4 of 8 from the field. He did have 4 assists and 2 rebounds, so really down on the assist, and then also the rebounds in tonight's game. Did have 4 fouls, but he wasn't the only one out there that had the 4 fouls. I think defensively as a team, this team really struggled tonight. But gotta give him credit out there for going out there, scoring the basketball, and at least knocking down some 3-point shots for us. And so next up, looking at the bench and the efforts that we saw off the bench. And so it was interesting, all right, because I want to start with Jalen Smith. I thought he played pretty good again in some limited minutes, 14 minutes on the day. I know it wasn't a great field goal percentage from him, but he still scored 11. He had 5 rebounds in this one. I did have a block, and he was +6. And I talked about the fact, I think just a couple videos ago, I think he's averaging 12.2 points, I think, for the month. And so one of the better scoring months with the Chicago Bulls. And what I'm looking to see, I think, over the last stretch of games here is I want to see some more minutes from him. I want to see, can he play more of an expanded role? So I wanted to see some more of that in tonight's game. But I think he looked good in the limited time that he had. Patrick Williams, look, he went down due to an injury. He did have 3 points, played 20 minutes in this one. Haven't found out just yet what is going on with his knee. We didn't get anything from DT, which is Dalen Terry. Julian Phillips, look, even though he didn't score a point in this game, I loved his energy. I loved his effort out there. I loved everything that he brought to the team today. And it became interesting because you see a player like Kevin Huerter, who played significantly more minutes than him. And I think that Dalen Terry is a player that, or excuse me, not Dalen Terry, but Julian Phillips is a player that we absolutely want to see some more of as far as being evaluated, and Dalen Terry too, for that matter. And you see Kevin Huerter has continued to struggle with this team. 1 of 8 today. He did finish in the plus-minus box score, but it just wasn't good. There was one play where he went up for a dunk/layup, and he missed everything. I don't know what that was. And then there was one play where he went to throw a lob, I think, to Jalen Smith, and I think it hit the side of the backboard. Look, I have no idea what is going on with Kevin Huerter, but it wasn't a good performance. And I just think at some point, look, Billy Donovan has got to look at the guys that are probably maybe have a chance to be here. I'm not sure that Kevin Huerter is going to, or maybe you flip that piece. I don't know, but it just didn't look good and hasn't looked good. And he played in 18 minutes in this game too. And so that is just kind of a head scratcher for me as far as the way that the minutes were distributed, and just needing to look at some other players that I think maybe are part of your long-term future. And so, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the box score here quickly and just take a look at that. Because when we look at this, I think that much like last night, we see that once again, the Detroit Pistons really dominated as far as the rebounds are concerned, 47-37 there. Turnovers, the Bulls once again struggle with that, 18-17 as far as the Bulls leading in turnovers. Fast breaks 2 nights in a row. The Pistons dominated on that. I talked about just the Cade Cunningham dunk, but it seemed like that the Pistons were always in transition, 28-22 there. And this is where it got a bit ridiculous. I mean, the points in the paint for the Pistons, 68-48 in this game. I think in the last night's game, it was 60-50. And so they put a real hurting on the Bulls as far as paint scores. Steals 9-8 in that. The Bulls lead in steals, and then also in block shots, Bulls 7-6. Field goal percentage, Almost identical to last night, a little bit better. You see that we're at 43% in this game. That's why I think it was a bit closer. We had 35% last game, 22% from three in this game, 21% last night, so that wasn't any better, which really led to the struggles. I think that this team just collectively continues to keep looking at the three-point shot and not generating enough offense as far as going to the paint, making the defense move and things like that. And so that just has been a real struggle, I think, for this team really the entire year. And then when you look at the Pistons, look, they shot 51.1% from the field, identical to last night's game. They shot 53% from the field and pretty much identical in three-point shooting. Look, tonight, 40%. The night before, it was 43% from the field. And as far as the assists are concerned to field goal ratio, the Bulls 23 to 37 as far as 23 assists to 37 field goals made. Last night, 22 assists to 35 field goals made, so almost identical there. And so, look, I think the bottom line and really I think the key takeaway here is that the Bulls have really got to figure out, I think, a better plan, I think, to evaluate just the talent down the line here. Because, look, I didn't like the fact that you played Kevin Huerter more minutes, especially once he's struggling. I think that you want to see some more out of a player that certainly was giving you some more energy in Julian Phillips. And you need to figure out, are you going to keep him? And I think that that's the same thing for Dalen Terry as well. You need to see him some more. And you talk about earning minutes. These players have been with you. Have they not earned the minutes and earned, I think, the ability to, just be evaluated to see what you want to do with them? So I think that that must continue. I think that when we see Tre Jones and what he was able to do, like I said, I think it's good. I'm not going to say like it's great or anything like that. It just makes me think that now the Bulls have more questions than maybe answers, because what is that going to look like when you get Lonzo back? And for the people out there that go, well, Tre Jones played well and the Bulls should go along with him, I guess that's fine, but you just extended Lonzo Ball. So what does that mean? And so, look, there are so many things that need to be just answered here. And then you talk about the team saying that, hey, we need some more size and things like that. Why did Zack Collins not play? I don't understand that. I mean, you don't play him. You need some size at the center position. Doesn't make sense here. I know Sanogo is injured. That's a player that I would really expect, if he was healthy, I would like to see him at least be evaluated as far as, are you moving on or away from him? Like, just again, so many things that the Bulls need to figure out here. Let me know in the comments what you think about this most recent loss. And, are you thinking, yes, the evaluation process and the direction here is still very confusing for you? Let me know what you're thinking. And look, as I say all the time, even though it is confusing, I still think the Bulls are going to figure this thing out at some point. It may not be anything, soon, but I think at some point they do, and hopefully this team gets back to being a contender again. So anyway, as I always say, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.